Hi, this is Alan Liska from Green Archer Comics, and today I want to talk a little bit about Kickstarter launching, especially your comics Kickstarter launching, and how maybe the conventional wisdom for when to launch your Kickstarter, your comics Kickstarter in particular, might be a little bit off. And this stemmed from the fact that yesterday, September 16th, I got these emails. These are 7 new projects that launched in comics Kickstarters just from the creators that I followed. Now, the actual number of comics Kickstarter that launched yesterday is a lot larger than that, but these are from creators I've backed before that have new projects. And you see where that can be a bit of a problem. So, especially in tougher economic times, comics are often considered an indulgence. It's similar to the lipstick effect. So, for many people who don't know, cosmetic companies often see sales of lipstick increase during recessions because it's considered an inexpensive indulgence, a treat for yourself to be able to go buy lipstick. You can't make big purchases right now, but you can still have that one thing you like. And comics are a lot like that in that people may not have a lot of money to spend, but they'll have, $10, 15, maybe 20 with shipping to treat themselves to a comic. So it's that bit of an indulgence that's there. And if these 7 creators had been spread out over the month, then I probably wouldn't have even noticed. But when you see 7 creators launch at the pretty much the same time, then you start to catch that and you go, well, wait a minute, that's adding up. Now that's an electric bill, right? That's not just a simple indulgence. And so you start to panic about, okay, well, maybe I can't afford to back all these, or maybe I can't do all of these. And realistically, you probably could. Again, if it were just spread out over a month, it's just seeing those numbers all at the same time. And so I worry that the conventional wisdom of when to launch Kickstarters may actually be hurting some creators because you're not thinking about the people who are backing you and what their experience is like. So, first, a little level set here. What happens when somebody launches a Kickstarter campaign is a notification goes out via email to all the people that said, hey, notify me on launch. And that's really why that Monday, Tuesday conventional wisdom has come into play. And in fact, Kickstarter has it on their page, and we'll get to that in a minute. The idea is you want to get people when they're in front of their email and they're most likely to take action. So over the weekend, people may not read their email as much, and so they may not look at your email until Monday or Tuesday anyway. And early backers are so important because it builds that campaign momentum and gets other people to back. And so again, the conventional wisdom has always been, well, Monday and Tuesday, maybe Wednesday is when people are sitting in front of their computer. They've, if you do it on Tuesday, they've gotten through everything they had to do on Monday to catch up from the weekend activity. And now they're fresh and ready to go and they're more likely to take action. Same thing, Wednesday also generally works for this. Thursday and Friday, people are in the middle of their tasks they're trying to get done for the week, so they may not pay attention. They may not be spending the time looking at their email as much. And so, again, they may not take action. So, launching on a Tuesday makes sense from that perspective. You're more likely to get the attention of people in their email inboxes, which is what you want because that's where you're trying to drive that traffic from. And in fact, Kickstarter has that information on their page as well. So if you look at Kickstarter's best time to launch your campaign in 2025, and this is from data compiled as of November 2024, so it's about a year out of date. They say the same thing that I did, that you want to basically get most engagement by getting the most visibility to your emails when they go out. And they say the best months to launch are September and October, which is true. We see that in comics all the time. And in fact, last year, I think at one point we had about 350 comics projects live on Kickstarter at the same time. And I will easily hit that again this year. best days of the week they say are Monday and Tuesday, and they, based on their data, they consistently see higher success rates because it's that midweek productivity without the distraction of Monday. So Tuesday, probably Wednesday is really good, and then early in the month is where they recommend launching because that's when people are more likely to back. And then for the United States, at least, sometime between 1 and 9 p.m. Eastern time, with 4 p.m. being peak. And in fact, that works really well for a lot of people because you get the East Coast, you get the West Coast, and then even some people, if you're like us, we have a lot of backers in the UK, it's still early enough that you can get UK backers. So that's the conventional wisdom from Kickstarter. And I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is that things may have changed a little bit because there are so many repeat creators on Kickstarter now. So many people, so many creators, comics creators specifically, have made Kickstarter a core part of their business, which means they're launching 5 or 6 different campaigns, sometimes 12 campaigns in a year. And if you're a backer like me and you want to support them, you want to back as many of those projects as you want. But when you see this constant deluge of new comics all on the same day, I think you're actually less likely to back them because you're going to start to pick and choose. Okay, I can't back all 7. Which one of these can I back? And that's what you're going to focus on. And so I think as creators, we need to start thinking more effectively about how you launch your campaign. For me, what I've started doing with my campaigns is I tell people, this is when I'm launching the campaign. So if I really appreciate it if you back me early. It means a lot for the algorithm and so on. And I'm fully transparent with everybody about why I want them to do it. But they have the date and time that the campaign is going to launch. And so they're ready for it. So then it doesn't matter as much. Now, I'm still not likely going to launch on a Saturday or Sunday, just because, again, people are out. They're not necessarily going to be right in front of their email. But it does mean that I'm not as dependent on getting that attention. And so one of the things Kickstarter's done that's really nice is they've let you send out email notifications to people who have asked to be notified on launch. So you can send those out before the campaign starts and have everybody fully prepared for when you're going to start. A nice addition, Kickstarter, if you're listening, would be if I could remotely schedule, okay, go live on this day, and then have it launch automatically for me like that, which is something they don't have yet. But the fact that I can now email people ahead of time before my campaign starts, the people who have said to be notified on launch specifically, means that they know when it's going to be launched. And I'm not as dependent on getting their attention when it goes live. So I don't know what the best strategy is yet, but I do think that it is very quickly becoming apparent that launching on a Tuesday means you're more likely to get lost in the shuffle of all the other campaigns that are launching. And for some creators that won't matter. Your backers are really loyal to you and you alone, and they're going to back your campaign no matter what. But for a lot of other creators, I think you are losing out by sticking to the conventional wisdom of launching on Tuesday. For other comics creators who use Kickstarter, I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this and how your strategy has evolved for when to launch your comics Kickstarter campaign. So thank you all for listening and for watching, and keep reading indie comics.